Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the TJR Auto channel. My name's Tyler. If you don't know, now you know. And today we're going to be diving into some more GTO content, as you probably could have figured due to my last video. Apologies if the air conditioner is a little loud. It's kind of hot out here, and yeah, so just I'll try to talk louder. Hopefully I don't blow your eardrums out for me having to project my voice a bit more. But anyways, as you can see, the black half cut is still in the garage. Obviously I'm standing inside of it right now. And I think I ended the last video talking about all of the measurements I took. And I took a bunch of measurements basically with this black half cut, figuring out where the frame rails are relative to the firewall, relative to each other, strut towers, rad support, all that good stuff. I had no luck finding like an old school style like crash book with all of the car's dimensions and where everything needs to go online. So I figured I might as well take all the dimensions and then I have them, and maybe one day somebody else can use them too if they try to do a similar project to this. But the good news is it seems like my strut towers on Gemma, the yellow 04, it seems like they're actually straight and they're in the perfect spots. So because of that, I don't need to worry about using the wheel tubs off this black car. I can keep the yellow wheel tubs on the yellow car, which is nice. It's a little bit less work to do. But we still do have some work cut out ahead of us, because I need to steal, at minimum, the passenger side entire front frame rail from the firewall forwards, the upper rad support or core support, the lower radiator support, the crash bar, and the headlight buckets. As you can see, I got all the seam sealer scraped out of here. I just went old-fashioned, as you saw in the video, with a hammer and a wide tip straight blade screwdriver, and you can see all the seam sealer sitting over there. So I got that inside joint done, which is basically the only thing inside the engine bay I need to get rid of. And then inside the wheel tub, this is where it's going to get interesting. You can actually see this is where I grinded it the other day. I just used a wire wheel. It came right off, but it made a mess. So if we follow the shape of the frame rail, obviously you can see it comes back here. Right here we have a line, so I'd like to, see what this looks like behind it. But I'm gonna take a guess and say we're gonna have to remove, this up here, all of this, and probably most of this back here. And then we can really see where the frame rail is, I guess, and see how it's actually constructed. That's probably gonna be the biggest pain in the ass part of this whole project, is just figuring out how this was made in Australia, like how they spot welded these cars together, because obviously we're trying to undo that. I'm just about done getting out the inside, or I guess the inner wheel well frame rail section, whatever you want to deem this, I guess. But as I showed you earlier, like I said, this is what I did last time. It was literally like this little strip right there. So there's that, and you can still see there is seam sealer like in this crease, which I'm not gonna be able to get out with a screwdriver and a hammer. So I will have to run the wire wheel across this 100% to clean it up completely. But I'm just trying to get it to a better spot. So under there, you can tell I still need to do a little bit more. And then here, I was actually hit with the screwdriver and I actually busted through the wheel tub. So that's kind of funny. But you can see basically the line of where the frame rail meets the wheel tub all the way over to this corner, right back there, which if I hang this light, you can see I can actually, this is my fingernail touching this whole thing's the frame rail, and then you can see it comes around this way and down here. So this is, so literally from this area forwards is what we're taking. We're leaving this, all this stuff, and we're leaving everything back here. All right, so bear with me here. I'm running low on battery, so I'm gonna be jibber jabbering. So I already showed you, I think, maybe, I don't know. I got all the seam sealer off of this seam. On the back side of that, inside the the inner wheel well, that also has basically the same seam there. So all that seam sealer is gone. Also on the headlight bucket, gone. And then there's a little bit over there, that's gone. So I did the same over on the driver's side, and I wasn't as lucky as the passenger side, where there's a small amount of surface rust on the tub, not on the frame. It's just on the tub. This looks like some of it is kind of on that lip of the frame rail, which easy enough. When I pop it off, it will be replaceable and a lot more accessible. So I still need to get a little bit of seam sealer out of back there. As you can see how I have it over there, where you can actually see through it. So that takes another 2 minutes, but got the rest of this cleaned up, already vacuumed, obviously. This whole rail just has more surface rust to it. There's really no rot, so it is usable. Definitely not like a waste of time, but it is gonna be tedious getting it all cleaned up, prepping it, and making sure it is a-okay and perfect, because we don't strive for anything less here. So obviously we have the spot welds on the frames to the tub. We also are gonna have spot welds here, which go from like this outer skin. I guess this is kind of like the fender mount, even though the fender goes here. The fender covers this, so I guess I'll call this the fender mount for now. You can see where this is spot welded together here, and here, and here, and here. And I think there's probably some down there, maybe, I don't really know. But again, we're basically just trying to take this, you know, this forwards, as well as the frame rails, leave this whole tub in here. This will be staying in here. Same with the other side. So definitely got my hands full. But honestly, after cleaning up the seam sealer, it kind of gives me just a little more faith that this won't be too bad of a project. Now, if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you know that I have never done something like this. This is probably, you know, going to be the quote-unquote craziest build I've ever done or whatever. To date, this will probably be like my nuttiest or like, I guess, hardest project. I don't really know what to deem this as. I'm excited for it, but I'm not excited for it. It's going to be a pain in the ass. I know I'm going to get frustrated along the way. So far, so good. But then again, I haven't really done anything. So we'll see how it goes. I'm more so eager, not for this, but to pull the trans out of the car and see how bad that situation is, because that's a whole nother day. I really hope the trans isn't toasted, because that's going to be a lot of money that I don't really have, since I'm kind of going balls deep into the front end project, and I'm still trying to save on the side for Bonnie as well, because either she needs a rebuilt trans, like I need to rebuild one or get a rebuilt one, or I just say I save up and I do the 1J swap in her like I've been planning on for years now. But things get in the way, such as GTOs, because I love GTOs, but I love Bonnie more. So we'll see what happens. I don't really know. All right, guys. Well, it's another day. I think it's Tuesday. I filmed the first part of the video on Monday, so every day after work, I'm kind of just going to chip away at this thing as much as I can. Now, my spot weld drill bits are actually supposed to be getting delivered tonight. I don't know when. If you can hear that over my loud fan, storming pretty good outside, so hopefully we don't lose power, because that's just going to delay this process even more. But there's a couple ways you can go about removing spot welds. So if you've done it before, then you know. But for the first timers like me, you got a couple options. Basically, you can use some sort of small grinder, you know, like a very small grinding disc, I guess like a 3-incher maybe, or 2-incher. I don't really know. I guess a very small one you can get in the crooks and nannies with. There's that. You can use an air file, which is what I bought a little while ago from Harbor Freight. So we're going to try this bad mom out today. I've used it on stupid shit. Works good. Don't know how it's going to be with spot welds, so we're going to find out together. And the third way is spot weld drill bits. So those are the 3 ways I know of. We're going to be trying 2 of those methods, and I'd prefer to use spot weld drill bits, especially where it's going to be visible, because then it'll be very clean when it goes back together. I'm probably going to play with random spot welds on the car, not ones that actually matter, just to test it out, see how it works, and go from there. So hopefully we don't lose power. I don't have the air conditioning going. I just have the fan on, because if I had the AC on, as well as my air compressor, as well as my fan, all of my battery chargers, my computer plugged in, my light, I would probably burn the house down. So let's get after it. All right, you can see I just hit these two, and you can actually start to see that inner circle, which is where the spot weld was. So now I'll try to gently pry this, split it, and keep moving all my way down. We got these spot welds knocked out here. I showed you guys these two originally, and I got these four done up top. So technically, I'm disconnected here and all the way around this side. There is some spot welds here, and yeah, that go from through this headlight housing to the tub itself. I don't know how far, honestly, I'm gonna go with using the belt sander. It does work. And I'm sure if I practiced more or if I had more experience, I could do it cleaner. But you can just see, even with me using or at least trying to use the corner of the belt sander, I still kind of am bellowing out more of the metal than I would like. And some came out better than others. Some of them you can tell that one actually had two spot welds next to each other. But like even up here, I basically missed like half of the spot weld on here, even though I thought I hit it. And I ended up tearing up all the metal here that I'm going to be using. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously, it's going to be getting welded anyways. So I can add a little bit more than just like one spot weld when I go to do it. I can basically add 2 or 3 in here if I need to. But just for like cleanliness and whatnot, I don't think I'm going to continue using the grinder, at least for stuff like this where it will be visible. For stuff like this where you're not gonna see it, I guess it really doesn't matter. But it would be nice to use a spot weld drill bit, because you're precise, you're dead on accurate, and just comes out much cleaner, and you won't tear up your panels trying to split them when there's a little bit of metal left over like here. It also probably doesn't help that I'm using screwdrivers. One's thick, one is super skinny and small. So maybe I'll pick up a metal, not wedge, but like a metal, not file, I don't even know the word for it. A flat metal thing that you can beat in there, you know, to split it better. All right, guys, well, like I said, figure I'll show you what the air file, this thingy, what this looks like here on this side. So you can see it's pretty sloppy. That's probably mostly just for me, but where I couldn't tell, where I actually didn't get through the spot weld, it ripped the metal when I tried prying it. And then now here is with the spot weld drill bit, and you can tell the bit walked on me a couple times. I experimented with how to get it to stay centered. This one was the worst. It kept walking on me. That one was like, focus. That one was like perfect. But funny enough, as soon as like I went all the way through the spot welds, the piece popped up on its own. So that's pretty cool. And for anybody wondering, this is what the spot weld drill bit looks like. So that big black tip in the middle actually is like on a spring. So when you push down on it, I'll show you. When you go to push down on it, that actually goes in, and then basically that is just like a, the thing on the outside is almost like a hole saw. So it actually is bigger than the spot weld itself, and the reason for that is because it basically just knocks off all the metal. Your old surface now has the spot weld on it, and the new surface has no spot weld. So kind of hard to move my hand since I didn't do any other ones, but it does move, so that's pretty cool. But all right, so not the prettiest thing in the world. Again, you can see where the spot weld drill bit has walked on me in a couple places. I think I have a solution for that. And then I don't think I showed it in the time lapse, but I may have spoken about it. This corner is actually folded over, so I wasn't able to see this last final spot weld down here. So I started gently trying to pry, this whole area from the back, I tried to separate it, and then I noticed a little indentation for a spot weld, and I completely forgot that this area was kind of crumpled, and I just like pulled it out by hand, you know, a couple days ago. So just gently beat it back out with the hammer. I was able to make this a decently flat surface again. I put my pilot hole in here and then drilled out the spot weld, and now this whole area is free. So what I'll be working on next is I need to vacuum up all of this metal. Probably gonna lay down a piece of cardboard for myself to lay on, and then I need to tackle the, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 spot welds under the headlight area. I have to do it from the bottom, so I just actually removed the horn, which usually sits right here. Just threw it up there for now. But I'll show you. Oh god, this is hard to, oh my god, why is the light doing that? Come on. Yeah, so there's spot welds along this lip up here. I believe there's 3 of them. And then there's like 5 or 6 that go along this ridge. It's basically double skinned. One skin is the skin that you can see right here is actually the wheel tub, and then the one skin above it is actually the headlight support. So it's gonna be a little tricky getting in here, and at the worst, if I gotta use the air file, I will, but definitely easier with the spot weld drill bit. Headphone users beware. So just watch, I'm gonna aim for the wheel tub, right? Oh, that's not satisfying. Close up. Look at that, pops right off. So basically, find the spot welds. As you can see, I mark them, so it's easier for me and for you. And what I'll do is I take my center punch, put that right in the middle, or just about in the middle, and then give it a couple taps. Now I have my little indentation. Then I will take my drill with my pilot bit. All right, now you can see I have my center spot. I'll switch my drill bits back out and drill this out. So what I've been doing is basically right before I actually touch the metal, I back off a little bit, and then I'll go full speed and slowly push my way in. And what that'll do is that actually will slowly guide you a hole, and then from there the drill bit won't want to walk as much as if you just tried to go full ham at it and whatnot. So we have drilled out a spot weld successfully, and that's it. It's pretty effortless, pretty easy, and honestly the most pain in the ass part isn't doing the spot welds, it's actually splitting the 2 panels that are spot welded together. So I'll knock out the 4 more that are here, the 2 underside, and then maybe we'll get this thing split tonight, we'll see. So it is all still together, which is kind of unfortunate because I thought I was going to be able to pop it apart after I did those spot welds. But I lied to myself and I lied to you guys. There was a lot more spot welds I found last night. But now you can see it's all separated, and you can see, so I thought this frame rail that we're not using, it's this piece, which I didn't know, but this piece came up and I thought it ended about here. Because inside the frame rail, you can see a piece that goes here. I think I showed you guys that. Well, that's a 3rd piece of metal inside the frame rail we're not using. So basically, Pontiac gypped me, and they lied to me, and or Holden, I guess, and they played me good. So there's a bunch more spot welds, all the ones over here. Opened up this top seam to be able to get this out, because this is also seam seal glued in. So it is a pain in the ass to get out once you get the spot welds out. But you can see the end of it right there, and then there's a strengthening piece that is like these 8 or 6 spot welds here. This is just on the front frame rail. I don't need to take this piece out, at least that I know of. But now I have this side split. Let me step into the bay. And then I split this piece in here as well. You can see actually where that piece ends right there. Those nice cobwebs in there. It's beautiful, isn't it? So that's where we're at on this side. Now I need to transfer all that work over to here, and I also will be removing this bracket, which is right there, which was, you can see the outline of it. This is literally just like a little, I don't even know if it's a strengthening piece. it's a super flimsy little bracket that goes here. I've heard people remove them to fit long tubes, so my yellow cart might not even have them. I don't know, never noticed them before, but yeah, I could always reinstall that onto this frame rail if I really need to, but I don't think I need to. I think it would probably be cleaner without it too, just having a straight frame rail. So now I gotta chip away at this side, and I finally changed out the spot weld drill bit tip. So I changed out the center pin, and I changed out this little spring center pin, and I also did change out the tip itself. So it blows through it a lot easier, I will say. I thought my old tip was doing pretty good. The new tip really rips. So let's keep chugging away. I want this baby split in half today. Well, as you just saw, she's split. So I cut the frame rails. I really didn't want to have to cut the frame rails, but I figure, why am I going to sit here and struggle with this? Because the only thing holding me up is the frame rails. I can feel it. I figure, why am I going to struggle with this if I can just cut it off this car, you know, take it apart and understand how it goes together, and then that'll actually help me get the yellow GTO done quicker. So she saw, cut the frame rail that we're not needing, and you can see she started to split apart. So now I'm going to try to chalk up the car a different way so that the part that I don't need is supported, so that won't fall. It'll take tension off the parts that I do need, and then I should be able to pull everything out in one shot. All right, my face might not show it because I'm super hot and sweaty, but I am so fucking excited. I'm so happy I just got that apart. Now, of course, as you probably saw in the time lapse, nothing up front fought me because I made sure everything was separated up there about 10 times over. Like I said, the biggest thing that was fighting me was these rear frame rails, or I guess the mid frame rails, where they meet the front rails. Now, I haven't really taken a look at this yet. I'm going to have to figure out why they're so stuck and see if there's, you know, spot welds I missed or whatever the case may be, which is a lot easier. It's a lot easier now not having this car, you know, messing me up with here. So this will be a lot easier. I can tip this thing up however I need to. Any of the little metal that got bent out of shape is pretty damn easy fix. Like you can see, like stuff like this, that's actually from the wheel tub. That's easy enough to grind off or cut off. And then this whole lip will be straightened out, you know, wire wheeled, cleaned up. If there's any major rust, like over here, this will all be like rust converted. And yeah, I want to do this once, do it right, make it nice. And yeah, but this is crazy sight. Pretty crazy sight. So I'll probably put this thing back on the ground. Maybe I'll throw this back onto the dolly just so I can move it still. But it shouldn't be as front heavy now, not having this on here. And the heaviest part on here, honestly, is this crash bar. This crash bar, you can see I picked it up with relative ease. You know, it really isn't that heavy. But the heaviest thing is honestly the crash bar. The rest of this stuff is just thin metal sandwiched together. So, I'm so happy this is over with. It's only like 11 o'clock in the morning, but I kind of want to drink a cold beer to celebrate. I think this is going to be the end of this video. We've got a lot of cleanup to do, not just on the GTO itself, but in the garage and whatnot. Need to clean up the work area. Got a side job coming in quite soon, so probably got to move all this shit back outside, or at least somewhere in here. But at least we're at a better point. Now I can actually learn how this, well, now I figured out how most of this went together. I got to figure out what was holding me up with the frame rail, because I really don't want to cut the frame rail on the yellow car, since we need to actually keep that, you know, kind of intact. But you know, we're here now. I have half of the GTO cut into 2/4. So as always, thank you guys for watching. I super, super, super appreciate it. I know I say it in every video, and I'm sure some people are sick of hearing it, but I love you all. I appreciate all the support, the comments, the likes, the subscriptions, the views, all of it. It's just an awesome thing. We have a nice little community going, and I'm very excited to see where things go. But in the next video, we'll be doing more prep work on this. Probably be actually diving into taking Gemma apart, which is exciting but also kind of scary. Funny enough, I've never pulled a motor on one of my own cars. I've done transmissions in my own cars, rear ends and all that fun stuff, but I've never pulled a motor in one of my own cars. So Gemma will be the first, certainly won't be the last. But again, thank you guys as always, and stay tuned for the next video. We've got a lot of good content coming, and this is going to be, well, it already is a very interesting project, and it's going to come out good, so stay tuned.